let's do that. I'm now recording, so everything that you say is now going to be on record. Haha. So, just a few news items first, and then we'll crack into some questions. So, just going to share my screen. This website, wpvulndb.com, is a good site to subscribe to, and also just to come and check out whether any of your plugins are vulnerable, and you should probably update them. You should be updating your plugins anyway, but this website will tell you what plugins are the most or security vulnerable. And if you've got any of these plugins, or if you're running anything less than WordPress 5.4.2, then yep, you're going to have some potential issues and some themes. So if you're running these themes here, so essentially what this means is that, yeah, you just come and check this list, and then if you've got any of these things, then you just upgrade to the latest version, and then that should fix the security issue or the vulnerability. Cool, makes sense?
Yep. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Nice, excellent. So, but anyway, in general practice, it's just good to update your plugins on a regular basis. Even if they're not vulnerable, obviously you still want to keep all your software up to date. All right. Next piece of news is WordCamp Europe is going. It's going to be virtual for 2021, and they're looking to do their in-person conference in 2022. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting. So it's cool because now we can all go to WordCamp Europe. We don't have to be there in person.
Will be in English, will it?
Sorry?
Will be in English?
Yeah, I think it's going to be in English. Yeah. I think it's generally in English. So yeah, it should be fine. And I think if maybe people do speak another language, I think they've got translation as well. So yeah, it's a pretty big event. So that's pretty cool. Latest news. Yeah, if you're a developer, you can now submit a block plugin. Yay! I'm sure you're all going to jump on this train.
Definitely not.
I mean, you've been building your new site, Moana, so you should be able to build a block.
No, I'm just a beginner.
Well, we're all beginners, in a way. I mean, we all start from somewhere. So, yeah. Anyway, so there's a call for developers to build block plugins, and these are just single one-off ones as well. Like just, if you want to build a block plugin for testimonials, or just
like a specialized block.
Like a specialized block, yeah. Because in 5.5, I don't know if anybody has downloaded and tested the beta version of 5.5.
No.
There's basically there's a functionality in there where you can go on, when you go to the block editor, and you go on add a block, but the block doesn't exist. So if you do a search for a block in your block library, and it doesn't exist, then it'll actually come up and suggest a block that's in the repository, in the plugin repo, and then you can download it there and then while you're in the block editor, and it will install the plugin, and it will activate the plugin, and it will then add the block to your page right there and then while you're editing.
Okay.
So that's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah. Well,
bad thing in a way that, because then people will be, people who are not used to the WordPress environment, they could eventually just end up downloading and activating hundreds of block plugins.
too many, yeah.
And then it could just be, and not a very good experience. Like, it will just slow down the site, and So that could be a possible negative on that on that functionality. Not sure how they're going to sort of work that in, but yeah. So if you're a block plugin developer, jump on in, begin and submit one of your block plugins. Maybe you can do a reputation management block, Jeff. Do something with Google reviews or something. Do a good
Well, I can't develop anything, but I've got access to a review widget you put on your website, and it picks up reviews and puts them on the website for you.
Sure. Is that like the plugin that the Google Business Review plugin?
No, it's nothing to do with Google. It's a widget that that's part of the program I'm using.
Oh, okay.
And we set up a code and put on your website, and it picks up 5-star, only picks up 5-star reviews from Google or Facebook or something like that.
Yeah, of course. Nice. Cool. Good to know. All right. So next piece of news. If you're tired of the WordPress dashboard, you know, that old dashboard that's been around for, since 2003. Well, it's obviously changed over the time. But anyway, if you want to change the look of your WordPress dashboard, there is a plugin called Admin 2020. And that allows you to transform your WordPress dashboard into a whole new experience with a different look and a different feel. And you can even come to this website, Admin 2020, the words 2020.com. You can go to the demo and you can log in to the demo with, if you write the admin notes.
Demo.
And and this is what I didn't change the password, but that's okay. So this is what the WordPress dashboard could look like if you decided to buy the plugin. So a whole new different experience. The tools.
Did you say buy the plugin? It's a paid one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a buy now plugin. So this is what you're. So $15 for the single site license, $50 for unlimited sites 1 year, and $100 for unlimited sites lifetime license. So yeah.
Does it make it easier to use, or is it just the same, just a different outlook, just a different look?
It just, I don't know. I mean, as the I'm really not sure. I mean, you be the judge on that. I mean, it's not.
Are there any posts on that we can see how it's presented?
Yeah. So this is basically this is the posts page layout.
One of the problems I'm finding, considering I'm editing so many posts, is that I finish editing a post, I go back, and of course I'm on the latest post, and then I've got to scroll through hundreds to find where I want to be for the next one. Understand what I mean? I've got 400 posts that I'm editing.
Yeah,
I've done about 125 or something. So after I've done one, it then goes back to number one again. So I've got to page down or scroll through and eventually find the one that is next. There's no way to actually go back in directly to where I was in the post list.
That's why you should probably maybe keep your post list page open in another tab, and then just right click to edit that post.
Oh, okay.
And generally what happens is when you do that, because I've found the same when I've had to do it in the past to edit lots of posts. So I've opened this post up in a new tab, but if you go back to the post lists, the last one you've done is highlighted. So then
it'll be in the same position.
And it'll be in the same position. So then you just go, okay, I've done that. And then you move on to the next one.
Yeah. one slight thing I did to improve just the way it was functioning was to change the number of visible posts on the list to 100 rather than 20. So at least I wasn't going page.
Yeah, yes, that's another way you could do it too.
But I still have to, with 100, I still have to scroll through and find. I'm on page 2 now.
Nice.
Can't you just do a search?
Well, I just want to go what's next on the list. I don't know what's next.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so if you want to change the look of your dashboard, then here you go. There's a plugin to do it. I'd imagine the tools here would probably be your plugins and your and all that sort of stuff. And the media library is a little bit different in this as well, which I kind of really think that WordPress should really be working on. Maybe, yeah. Like the media library, I think really needs work. It's been the same since, like, I don't know, I guess since it was first developed. But it'd be nice to be able to, sort of see things in a different way. I mean, it's even be able to put things into folders and stuff like that as well. So you can kind of, manage your media a little bit better. So if you've got like documents, PDF documents or whatever, and then they can go into a folder called PDF documents or something like that. So then it's all just really neatly put together. So rather than just have all these images show up in one big block, which is what it's currently doing, and then you've got to, whenever you have to look for a particular image, like a logo file or something, it's like, and there's stacks of images, then you got to either scroll through or you got to find the file name for the logo, and then you got to put it into search.
It's easier to upload it again.
Yeah, and that's probably what a lot of people do, which is not a great thing to do.
No, it's not.
Then it just clogs up the system even more. So yeah, so I really kind of hope that they work on there's plugins that you can, there's the enhanced media library plugin that allows you to, create folders and all that, or put images in categories. So then you can search categories and all that sort of stuff. So that's really good. But I really think that they should do something in core, personally.
Could you tell me how much space we have in the media library? Is there a standard amount of space, or how does it work?
Your space is just determined by how much your host space is.
Okay.
So yeah.
Got it.
And that's a combined, that's not just the media library, but it's like all the files that are your website files. If you've got emails on the host, then they take up space.
Okay.
So yeah, it just really depends. So that's an interesting plugin. So that's the cool thing about WordPress is that it's it's an open source software. So as part of the GPL license, it allows a lot of freedoms. So people can go and completely modify the code and then distribute that code. So they can change the way that WordPress even works and looks, and then they can actually go and distribute that, which is pretty neat. It's pretty cool. So that's why we love WordPress.
Yes.
So that's the news component. Woo! Anybody got any questions about those, or any general questions?
Well, I have a general question on plugins, because you introduce these really great plugins every week. And I also have this little voice in the back of my head saying, don't have too many plugins on your site.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line? How do you kind of balance that? Especially for a beginner, which, if something happens, then whatever.
Yeah, the rule of thumb is if you need the plugin, then use it. If you don't need it, don't use it. That's pretty much it.
So
But you know, but at the same
lovely
time,
plugins.
but at the same time, you're working in the limitations of what your server can do. So if
Yeah,
you're,
yeah.
yeah, like if so, that lady that joined us last week, and she had like WooCommerce running on her site and memberships and stuff, and
It's resource hungry.
they're really resource hungry. Yeah. So then you're gonna probably want a pretty good host that has a lot, like more RAM, more specs to sort of handle that those resources. So
And in terms of hosts, if that was you, who are the hosts out there that like are at that top end? I mean, we hear everybody advertising, you know, your site grounds and all that sort of stuff. Who's at that top end that can do that if you needed it?
yeah, so I use Cloudways quite a bit. Well, I've got I host client sites that need
Sure.
a little bit more resources on Cloudways. And Cloudways is basically like, you've heard of, you know, Google and I think it's Google Engine or Google servers, and Amazon, and you know, there's other ones like Digital Ocean, Vulture. So they're kind of like virtual private servers. So they yeah, or cloud, I guess cloud is what you probably call them. But they generally have a lot more resources, and their technology is a lot better. Like it's just much better than a shared server. So yeah, so essentially you'd sort of choose one of those if you have a resource hungry site. So you can go direct to like Vulture or Google or Amazon, or yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. But what Cloudways does is it's like a user interface between those services. So it's like
Okay.
so it's like a UI, because if you went directly to those services, so if you went to Vulture, you would have to know like basically system administration. You'd have to like know command line interface. Like you'd have to go in through, you know, you'd have to set up stuff really like a little bit more harder. So yeah, so Cloudways just makes all of that easy. So if you want to deploy a new server, you just click on add a new server, and they just do it automatically. And you know, if you want to install a SSL certificate, then you just press a button, and then it does it all for you. So
okay. And at the entrance level, so to speak, if you've just got a blog or something like that, who's offering the best deal these days in terms of whatever the criteria are?
So it really depends on, okay, where's your target audience? So if they're here in Australia, then you want to get an Australian server.
Okay.
You want to sort of be in a server that's closer to your audience.
That makes sense because
yeah. And then if you're in the US, like if you're targeting the US, then you'd want to have a server there. I mean, you can set up a site here in, say, in Australia, or even in the US, and then you could use a content delivery network, a CDN. Something like Bunny CDN, or there's a whole different host of them. But yeah, and essentially what they do, and Cloudflare is kind of a CDN, sort of. Their free plan is so Cloudflare. Their free plan is good for just DNS management, but not so good for their content delivery network, particularly here in Australia, because our bandwidth is
shit.
Yeah, that's a good description word on that one. Yeah. So we're very limited in that. So yeah, so you do something like Bunny CDN, and what does everybody know what a CDN is, or a content delivery network is? Have you heard that term?
No, not really.
All right. So you could even use Jetpack as well. Jetpack's in a way, but so what a CDN does is so you've got your site, hosted, say here
Is it like a mirror site?
in Australia. And the CDN basically just takes a cached version, like a copy, but they don't copy the files across or anything. They don't just do that. They just sort of create like somebody just said, like a mirror. So they kind of mirror the site. And then, and then they present. So if somebody is, the site's hosted here in Australia, but then somebody looks at the site in, say, America, then they will get delivered the site from the closest network CDN or server, but it's like the cached version of your site. So so it really helps to speed up the load speed, helps to the delivery of your website.
Okay.
So but if you've got
Jetpack will do that.
Jetpack has a CDN in it. So if you so it's got basically you can host your images via media library. They've got like a media library CDN. So so that really helps.
Yeah.
So, and so that's essentially the same sort of thing. They host they host the images when you upload them.
Yep, they're fast.
And then, well, in a way, they host it. So if you turn off Jetpack, then all your images don't disappear.
No.
They just basically just change the URL of the image, and then it just so the image sits in your media library just like normal when you upload it. But then they take basically they take a copy of that image, and then they store that on their servers, and then so again it acts like a content delivery network where the images are then are loaded based on where the person is. So
it's kind of like a distribution system in logistics where you have your main warehouse, but then you've got these satellite warehouses that hold a certain amount of stock. It's just that.
Excellent analogy, yeah.
Right. Now, my hosting is with GoDaddy, so it'd be interesting to know whether that's Australian, whether it's US, whether there's any CDN in that system. So I might get on the phone and talk to them about that.
Yeah, I think GoDaddy servers are in America, so I don't.
Right.
Unless they specifically state that they have servers in other countries. I think they're generally in the US, GoDaddy.
Which is what my audience will be. There's no point going for an Australian audience of this much when you can go.
Yeah, correct. So again, it just depends on where your audience is. That's where you. So, and then there's the obviously the choices of shared hosting and
yes. Well, I couldn't afford
dedicated
shared hosting.
So, and Cloudways is kind of like between. It's between dedicated. I mean, it is kind of dedicated, but not really. It's kind of between shared and dedicated, fully dedicated. So yeah. But yeah, if you go dedicated, then you'll be paying quite a lot per month for that sort of type of thing. So
don't need that, but I will go to GoDaddy and have that conversation with them and ask them some questions and understand it.
Yeah, there's also a service. Everyone knows Grant, Mr. Grant Hawkey. He uses a service called HardyPress.
Yeah. And
basically, what HardyPress does is it makes a static version of your website. So it basically just you deploy, like you build the site in kind of like a staging environment on HardyPress, and then you press, I think, publish or something. There's a button that you press publish, and then that pushes it out to the HardyPress live servers. But what HardyPress does is it just makes us like it just strips out all the dynamic stuff and all the database calls and all that stuff. There's none of that. They're just turning every page into a static HTML file, and then that's what they get. Like so there's no calls to the server. There's no there's none of that. It's just straight load. But there are some caveats. If you've got a dynamic site like a shopping cart site, or if you've got contact forms and all that sort of stuff, I know it works with Contact Form 7, but if you've got other contact form plugins, it's not going to work. So yeah, so it really boosts your speed of your site because it's not loading database calls or anything like that. It's purely static. So, but I think they've also got a CDN within their system, so they'll have hosts around the world. So same sort of
I hadn't heard anything about that before, but I'm assuming that something with a podcast or a video or something like that wouldn't be suitable.
Anything that has dynamic content. So something like a shopping cart or something like that, like WooCommerce wouldn't work on it. Podcast, I mean, if you've got, I don't know, like if you've got the audio files like hosted elsewhere, it would just mean that, like do those.
It plays on the site. It's not my podcast. With Outlander, there's a podcast for every episode. There's 67 of those. And there's various other cast members, etc., starting to do their own podcasts. So I'll put those on there as well. So that what happens, you get the RSS feed and you link and you tell there's this PowerPress plugin, and you pop it in there, pop in the PowerPress plugin in the RSS feed details into that, and it automatically creates a post for every podcast.
Wow.
And it brings the correct dates and descriptions and everything into it. So I don't know. I mean, if someone comes to my site and there's a podcast, when they play it, they don't get sent elsewhere. They're actually playing it within the site.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's pulling in the podcast file. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that my site is good for is that for my audience, I don't want to have to say, oh, you have to go there to find this, you have to go there to see this podcast, you have to go there to look at this video. I can put it all on there and just said, hey, it's all here.
Yeah. Which makes a better user experience at the end of the day. That's
Yeah.
And it also keeps people on your site. So.
I was trying to do this last night, and because I'm only using my iPad, I have these issues sometimes copying things or whatever. It just doesn't want to take the whole line of code. And Roby put this tool, which is this bizarre looking thing, to find an RSS feed from a podcast link that you get from like an Apple podcast, which that podcast link is not suitable for this PowerPress plugin. You have to find the RSS below it. And I pop this thing in, and this tool brings up the details, and I just can't copy the whole thing. I try to copy it on the iPad, it copies a bit, then you kind of scroll across and now it loses that bit. I just simply couldn't do it. And I've actually got a call out to him on the WordPress Port and Query site, please help me, I can't copy this. It's like, and sometimes I look at things as, right click and you can see the source code. Well, I can't right click.
Because you're on a tablet. So
You just need a keyboard for your tablet.
Well, I've got a keyboard for my tablet, but it doesn't help.
You can't use right click on the keyboard?
Well, I don't know how to do that.
Google.
Hang on.
Google. Yeah.
It's either control or command, and
Command space.
No. Oh, yeah, but it'll be on Google. How to right click on a keyboard.
Okay, I'll look it up. I've got a Belkin cover and keyboard for my iPad, and so it's really good. But yeah, I don't know how to do that. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll check that
it's
out.
doable. It's doable.
Is it just that you're not able to copy the whole code from the tablet, or is it because you can't see the source code?
I can't see the whole lot at once, and I've tried to copy and then try to move the cursor over to copy the whole thing, and then it drops what it had and wants to do it again. And it's just the way that this thing is positioned. I'll pop a picture into the group, WordPress group, so you can have a look. But it's just this weird thing, and it's just this really ugly looking site, but it does a job, except I can't copy it. Anyway, I'll sort it out. I'll try to find the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just do what Robin says.
Yeah.
Just to see if you do right click on a tablet keyboard. Interesting.
Oh well, I don't think that's going to solve my copying problem, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Yes. Interesting. I just got a question from Shiho in the chat, just relating to server location. Does it affect SEO? Customers are usually international, Japan, Australia. She has .jp, .com.au domain, depending on where they want to focus. It is a good question. You do want to have your server location to be obviously in the country that you that your main target audience are. That's probably where a content delivery network would work for that, because then it would, you could have your site hosted in Antarctica, and as long as there's a content delivery network in Japan and Australia, then it should be still fine. Whether it matters for SEO, I've got a couple of client sites that I've got hosted in my US servers. There's no CDN for those sites because they're pretty low traffic, low resource needed sites, but they are ranking on page 1 of Google for local search for for a .com.au site. So I guess it really depends. I mean, that's just, because I've always heard that, yes, it's really important to host your site in the same country. But I think it also really just really depends on, I guess, how competitive that your industry is, and if you really want to, just really want to sort of work towards giving your users a really the best experience. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what Google. Well, it matters what Google thinks, but it's what your users think. It's what you want your end visitor to sort of, you build your website for your end visitor or your end user in mind rather than Google. But obviously you want Google to favor your site too, so you want to have that balance. So I would say yes, it matters for SEO, depending. I don't know if that answers your question. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm on a bus, so.
You're in a bus?
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. trying to be quiet. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you.
That's all right. No worries. Any other questions? Jeff, do you have anything?
No, not at the moment.
Cool. Robin, do you?
Well, I've actually run out because I've been off doing writing stuff, not website stuff. But we didn't find an answer to our WP Discuss, because that link you gave us was somebody asked the question, but nobody's ever answered it. And so
I think I fixed it.
Oh, that's right. Yes, it is.
I think I've got it.
It somehow came up on the site, so we don't know what we've done, but it's there. because it wasn't overwriting the widget, the elemental widget, but now Frank's got it overwriting the elemental widget.
Oh, well, I didn't think it overwrite.
Well, no, but
No, it's actually putting in the discuss.
it's putting in the discuss one.
widget instead of just the normal.
But didn't you say you had to put the normal WordPress one in and then the discuss, when you did the plugin, it would overdo your
have to modify
elemental,
the discuss.
and then he has to modify the discuss plugin. That's what they said in the instructions. And it wasn't actually overdoing the
No, it wasn't doing it the same.
the elemental widget, but it is now.
Shut down, reboot, all the rest of it.
You just turned it off and turned it back on again.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
always
yeah.
I'm
the-
going to delete it and then reinstall it if I had to, but see what happens.
Yeah. But it's now working. So he now has to make the modifications to have it do what we want it to do.
Because what I saw from the comment, like that link I sent you, was just because in that it said something about that you had to sort of switch your page template to default, that it wouldn't work on the Elementor full width or canvas,
Or the canvas.
that
Did
it
you
had
do
to be
that?
like.
I'll check that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's working. It's working now. So whatever I've done, doing all that stuff.
So are you displaying the discuss widget using the short code, or is there an actual widget for it that you drag into the Elementor?
No.
No, it automatically takes over the WordPress.
No, the elemental widget.
Oh, the elemental.
Yeah.
Widget. Automatically takes over.
So wait, so you drag the Elemental
Yes.
Drag the elemental
Facebook
widget
comments?
in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it the Facebook comments or just the general
No,
WordPress
just blog
comments?
comments. Blog
Yeah.
comments.
Just blog
At the bottom
comments.
of the blog post.
Okay, so you're not using the Facebook or the Elementor comments?
No,
We
because Word WP Discuss takes over the elemental.
Yeah.
Blog post
Comment in the template.
widget.
In the blog
Okay.
post template.
All right.
And that's what it said in the instructions for Discuss, but it wasn't actually working. But now,
I think one of the things was that you won't see it until you actually go to preview
yeah.
or look at it online on your actual site.
Oh, so it doesn't obviously render
Yes.
in the editor. It just
Yes.
you
Which
might-
has that,
makes it a little bit of a
Yeah.
hiccup.
Okay, that's cool.
Mm.
Oh, that's good. Good that you got that solved. That's cool.
Get it out.
We're working on it. We're getting there.
You should.
Every
should
time you
jump-
go to do something,
End of
there's
July it'll be
6
up.
things. Yeah.
End of July will all be up, I think.
I've just got to write the content.
You just need to create like a little video on how to do that, because there's other people that are obviously out there struggling with that. So
Oh, thanks.
Point.
One thing that I found challenges with to try to get the SEO score up on the Rank Math plugin is grammar. An apostrophe, for instance.
Mm.
If I say Diana's book, apostrophe, in the word Diana's, and then in the WordPress automatically strips out that apostrophe in your slug, so that no longer matches. And I don't think there's any fix for that. I'm certainly not going to put it incorrectly on the site just to match it. After all, it's a site about literature. so
the irony.
and sometimes, but I did find that once it did work, and it changes, like the SEO score changes like from 14 to about 70 if you can get it right. So it does kind of make a big difference. But I looked at one, and this particular, I just couldn't get it to do anything. I actually sent Badu an example and sent him the link, and he basically said, look, it's just not going to work. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I was going to say reach out to him, but I'd say that it's probably a bit hard to.
we talk every day, or we email every day.
Yeah, you should set up are you on Slack or something? You should get onto Slack so you can just chat to him. in live time rather than emails.
No,
Is
no, that's
anybody on
okay.
Slack? Does anybody use it?
No, I've never seen it.
It's pretty cool.
Mm.
It's like a, it's like a, yeah, you can, well, it's like Messenger where you can, set up groups and stuff, and and you can, set up different discussions and have different sort of, I guess, spaces for different types of discussions, and then everybody can, join that core group and get access to all those discussions and join in if they want to or not. So
Lots of offices use it, don't they?
yeah, a lot of teams, and because it's just removes that whole email horribleness going back and forth all the time. Composing and sending, and then being able to search through, and it's all just there, and it's live. You can see people who are online. It's like instant chat, I guess. But,
yeah, it is. Yeah.
But it might not work for Banu because he'd probably be getting smashed with all these people's questions.
Yeah, no, the email's working fine. Email system's working fine. So if I have a problem, I just let him know how I'm going, and he encourages me. And
Oh, that's nice.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Nice.
Seeing if there's anything else on my list here. I have a Paul list that I just put notes in.
And is it empty, is it?
No.
Oh, no.
A little bit at a time. Now, you mentioned before that Facebook widget. How does that kind of sort of work? Does that mean that the
elemental comments is the elemental comment widget is based on Facebook. So it's a Facebook. It connects to your Facebook profile. So if you're logged into Facebook, which you most likely are on a browser, then you can then write a comment into that comment box on the page.
Yeah.
But it assigns it to your Facebook profile. So
your business profile on Facebook, not your personal profile.
No, your personal profile.
Well,
if you're the one that's writing the comments, then it's you as your personal profile.
Right. So let's say I'm on somebody else's site and I come to the bottom and I want to make a comment about their blog.
Yep.
Then that will also appear on my Facebook page, on my Facebook feed.
I think it might. Does it?
Oh, you're probably right, because I actually stopped myself from doing it the other day because I didn't want it on my Facebook feed. And I really wanted to make a comment, but I go, no, I don't want that on my Facebook feed.
It's a good question. Where did I have?
I think it might have been even Neil Patel's site that I was wanting to make a comment, but I go, no, I don't want my Facebook friends seeing that. That didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and that's the idea of it, is that, it becomes more social so you can get more reach, and but that's how the Elementor one works. Like, I'll show you on the screen. And this is what it looks like at the bottom of
yes.
So, but there is a checkbox here that says,
okay,
also post on Facebook, so you can just either tick it or untick it. And
yes, okay, that sounds. But you have to be logged into Facebook at the time to post it onto Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. So you start writing, and then you log into post. Yeah. But it just connects to a Facebook profile. So
okay, got it.
Yeah, it eliminates the spam, I guess, and that sort of thing. So eliminate spam comments, and but I think Discus allows you to sort of post from multiple social channels, I believe. Is that?
Don't know.
I think so. I'll check that out.
Mm.
Like you can sign in as Twitter or
Yeah, you
Gmail
can.
or
Yeah.
Facebook or
Which
any
I
of
never do.
those.
I never do. It's always
Well,
email. So that's probably why I've been asked to do that, because I'm not signed in under Facebook or something like that. Yep.
Yeah. But this, I mean, this is really cool to have if you want to offer that to your own, like, yeah, because then people are going to write comments and then
Yep.
that will come up on their Facebook and then
Yep.
you'll get access to their, like, their feed and people will get to see your stuff. And, you know, like it just adds that social component.
That's fine for other people. It's just not what I want to do.
Not for you as a commenter. Yeah.
No, I know.
But yeah, you should have an option like this one does to post to the social feed or not.
Yeah.
So that's just the elemental one there.
Yep.
The pop in.
It's probably on the discuss one as well.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for that. Still haven't got around. Will we need to do capture on that discuss one, or have they got a built-in anti-spammer thing?
No, capture still have to go through Google.
Still have to do capture.
Have to go Google.
Figure that out.
Have to go through Google.
Yeah. It's not an easy process. I looked at it the other day and I go, oh God, I need a couple of hours to figure that out.
I guess for the option to post as an email, I guess you'd need capture on it because you want to stop spam.
Yeah, but even on that comments box, I suppose the fact that so if you didn't make them choose Facebook or a social media platform, then there's an element of spam being able to come in there, isn't there?
100%, yeah. Because then, yeah.
Yeah. But you don't have any capture type thing on that one?
No, because it's assigned to a Facebook profile. So.
But what if somebody came in via their email account rather than a Facebook? They didn't sign up with Facebook, they signed up with email to something. And then you've got that choice about whether you tick the Facebook box to let it go to Facebook. If they don't do that.
The Elementor one doesn't give you a choice. It's just
okay.
like, well, you have to be a Facebook user.
Yep.
Okay. You have to log into Facebook.
Yep. That's fair enough. That's anti-spam in itself, isn't it, really? Yeah.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, got it.
So as soon as you're offering an email way to do it, or then you're opening up yourself to that potential spam, yeah. And that's generally what like WordPress out of the box does. So it will just allow anybody to just spam. That's why a lot of people get comment spam.
Well, there's a comment blacklist, a list of words you can put in that make it unacceptable. And you can also indicate whether links in comments are acceptable. So you can adjust those types of things.
Yep.
In your WordPress settings.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that as standard. But you know, you're still going to get the odd one slip through.
Yeah.
And then there's, you know, like if you could turn on the subscribe function, so the user has to subscribe to the website to comment.
It's like double opt-in. People don't do it.
Yeah. So Discus is probably good to use, or just a straight, the Facebook one or whatever.
Yeah, got it.
So
now I understand how it works.
So then it links to an actual real person.
Yeah.
So, just because someone's got a Facebook profile doesn't mean to say they don't spam either.
No,
For instance, the Port Macquarie tourism area used to put posts up and I used to see them and I used to look at them and, there's a comment, have a look. There was this bloke in Wollongong somewhere. Every time they posted something, he would troll them in the comments. And they were unaware of it. They obviously didn't check. So I actually sent them a message and saying, are you aware of this? This guy does this every time you post something.
Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll get that. that's just social media.
Yeah.
People with nothing better to
That's
do, you
the
know.
world we live in now.
Can I ask, Paul, you know, not the capture where you have to go the sidewalk or the cars or that sort of thing. You know, the little one that you have to just put the number of, they come up with a,
Number of traffic lights,
generate a few letters and numbers and you have to write that in. Where do you get that one from? And is that a viable alternative to the full-blown capture?
So you can use the Google reCAPTCHA service.
Yes.
I'm not sure whether.
Is
Yeah,
that
I
part
mean,
of?
when I'm adding, say, reCAPTCHA to a contact form, because that's just prevalent with spam. Yeah, I'll just use I use Gravity Forms, but a lot of forms do it, where they just have a field where it's reCAPTCHA, and then you go and sign up to Google reCAPTCHA and get the API keys and plug it in, and then you've got choices of versions. So
Right.
reCAPTCHA version 1, I think 2 or 3. And then there's choices of whether you just want like a tick box, a challenge.
Okay, got it. So that's where it all is there, the types of reCAPTCHA you can use. Okay.
Yeah. But it depends on the form, because I know Gravity Forms doesn't work with version 3 of reCAPTCHA. You can only use version 2, which is just which is basically like version 3 allows you just to have an invisible capture on there, like there's no checkbox, but it just sort of checks the I guess the IP and the it does some stuff in the background, which is pretty neat. And then there's, because you can get a plugin.
Is Gravity Forms a plugin?
Gravity Forms is a plugin, yeah.
Right.
So that's a premium plugin for building forms on your site. So you can get like the Google reCAPTCHA plugin, which basically puts reCAPTCHA site-wide, so it covers pretty much everything. Like it covers all the forms and everything. It's like a blanket approach.
Okay, so you would sign up to Google reCAPTCHA, and then you would put the plugin on, and it would put it on every form that you put onto your site.
Well, yeah, you'd probably use the version 3, which is the like the invisible.
Yeah. Okay.
You might have seen those sites that have like in the bottom left or right hand side corner, like a little capture box, like a little icon. Which is basically states that the site is protected by Google reCAPTCHA. So that's what that plugin would do.
Right.
And then you wouldn't need to put captures on each form and all that sort of stuff. But
that makes sense.
Okay,
so would that work with the discuss forms, or would I need to go back to the native Elementor comment form, for example?
Well, the native Elementor one doesn't have it, I don't think. Because again, it's just based on a user login for Facebook. So
okay, got it. Okay, let us play with that one.
But Discus should have one. Like it should have the capabilities, maybe.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
we've just got to get the
sign up with Google.
We've just got to sign up to Google and get that sorted out and get the API in there.
Yeah, it's all free, so
it's another piece of work to do.
It's not hard either. It's not hard to.
It's not hard. It's just time.
It's just when you go to this job and you go, oh Jesus, I can't do that until I do this, and this. It's my life at the moment. I go to Medium and I go, okay, I'm going to write for Medium. And then I go, well, I can't set that up before I have a Stripe account. I can't do that before I have a bank account for the company because I shut that down. So, yeah, there's always something to do.
Yep. Yes, there is.
Is that your life too, or is it just me?
Yep, it's my life as well. So.
Okay.
But I'm doing that with clients, so it's
Yeah.
kind of like I'm getting them to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you need
You
to set
sent
up a
them a
Stripe
to-do
account?
list.
So yeah, I had a client meeting yesterday, and it's like, all right, here's your homework.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what you have to go and do. So-
Yes.
It's all right. We take away our list of homework every week from you. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, well, my challenge for today is to get these other podcasts up. So somehow or other, I'll have to copy that piece. I'll give it a shot after this again, because last night it was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was getting a bit tired.
Yes.
that would do it. Yeah.
Maybe things work better in the morning.
It's cool that you've got, like I've tried to create passion websites. Like I've got one site called ppgguide.com.
Yeah.
And it's live. You can go and check it out.
Yeah.
But it's and it's it's all about, it's kind of about powered paragliding.
Wow.
I like flying stuff. So yeah, and I'm really kind of passionate about that, but I just find it really hard to find the motivation to build it, like, and write content and do stuff on it. And I haven't touched it for months. So I take my hat off to you, Judy, for being so passionate and really getting on with building your site and just
when they talk about blogging, they say you have to find a niche that's an inch wide and a mile deep.
Yep.
Outlander is exactly that.
Yeah, it is.
And unless you're really passionate about something, you would never keep it up.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely, you wouldn't do it. It would just drift off into nowhere, like a lot of blogs do. But I've built an audience, and I know there's a massive audience out there. And every time I watch something, it just brings it all to life for me again. And so I think, oh yeah, I remember that. And look, watching an Outlander video can just make you cry or make you laugh. Usually they make you cry.
Yeah.
So did you watch any episodes, Paul?
Not yet. No.
No.
I mean, I haven't really had the time lately to watch much stuff. So
do you know that on YouTube there are certain YouTube creators, and there are various people who do videos, and there's this lady called Julia LeBlanc. She's in Canada. She makes these fantastic Outlander videos, fan videos. There are literally thousands of videos on YouTube done with pieces of the actual footage from the show and music and edited. The fan base for Outlander is just amazing.
So there's a real cult following.
Yeah.
Oh, look, people are obsessed. People really, half the time, I've just found it. I'm so obsessed. I've binged five seasons in a week. And then they say,
didn't you pop something up in the Facebook group last week or something to answer back about, Robin said something about, I can't remember
yes,
I did. Yeah.
What about Poldark?
What about Poldark?
Poldark.
No.
I have my niche. I do not need another one.
Well, as we say, Ross is not Jamie. Jamie is our king of men, our absolutely honourable man.
So Ross and Jamie, are they the same person in both television shows, or are they?
No.
They're just the stars.
They're just the stars, but you're kind of comparing them.
Just the main characters in these two particular shows, yeah.
Okay.
But no, you can't compare them. Sorry.
But people try to compare them. Is that what happens? Is that why the?
Oh well, people suggest, because what happens between seasons? We're in Droughtlander at the moment, as it's called, because season 5 finished, And so we're sitting here waiting for season 6, which is going to be like 2 years because of COVID. And so people are desperate for things to watch, and you know, oh, what can I watch in Droughtlander? And people suggest Poldark, and people say, no, you can't watch that. He's not an honourable person. No, so yeah, people are very passionate, very, very passionate about Outlander.
Yeah.
Is they like conference, like, you know, when you were able to meet and stuff in person, were there?
Oh
like,
yeah, they go to
conference and.
Oh, definitely, yeah. There's all sorts of There's they go to SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con. They go there. There's New York Comic-Con. There's various events in the US and UK where they have you know, fan conventions and things like that. Yeah, but obviously that's all on hold at the moment.
And do they all like dress up, and do people dress up as their
yes,
characters?
not everyone does, but some people definitely do dress up, and they make the costumes, and there's just some amazing things happen. There's this fellow, I just saw it this morning. His name is Gilbride Macmillan. He's actually a Gaelic singer, and he had a part in season 1 of Outlander. And what happens, various people who have performed in Outlander in a particular role, it just becomes like a defining moment in their career. They get so many fans, so many followers, and just because they're not in the series any longer doesn't mean to say those followers go away. People just love them. His career has taken off. There's a fellow who is the Gaelic language coach. It changes people's lives. Just being involved with the series, it just really changes people's lives. Because they might have, say they had a Twitter account, they might have like 200 followers. After they become involved with Outlander, they get like 20,000 plus followers. And those followers don't go away. People just stick with them, and they follow their careers and promote their careers, and it's just an amazing thing.
Whole other world, Paul.
Yeah, it really is an amazing thing. The fan base is incredibly passionate. There's this People's Choice Award, which is a award thing in the US, all fan voted. And 2 years ago, Outlander won the best TV show, considering it's on a premium cable network, not a national sort of network, and it's all fan voting. They won over The Big Bang Theory and all these other big nationally, you know, syndicated shows, purely because of the passion of the fan base.
Yeah. Wow. It's like striking gold, isn't it? Like the producers and the writers and directors of that show. They're just like,
look,
you know.
People who are Outlander fans, they know who the writers are. They know who the set designers are. They know who the casting director is. Yeah. They know everyone associated with it. They know who the producer was, you know, in this episode. They know all these things. It's not just it's a TV show. It's not. It's just this community, this passionate community, and it's just amazing. It still amazes me.
Yeah.
You know, my uncle, who's 85, he wasn't in 2016, but at the end of 2015, he told me about it. Oh, have you seen such and such? And he said, oh, there's this TV series and books that go with it. And I said, oh, no, I haven't seen it. So from that moment, I went to the library, I got the books, or I got a couple of books because they're not available. They're always on hold. There's a waiting list for them at the library. And so I've got the TV show and I watched it and I thought, oh, wow, this was just amazing. So from that point on, now I've got all the ebooks, I've got all the audio books, I've got the DVDs, I've got, Netflix has got up to season 4. So want to rewatch anything.
So is it like just a drama? Is it?
Oh, it's
action? Is there
period drama?
There's action. there's this beautiful cover that Diana, the author, put together, because it's hard to describe to people, because people think it's a frothy romance. It's not. There's mud and there's blood and there's all sorts of things. There are a couple of scenes at the end of season 1 which people say are the most horrific things they've ever seen on television, but it's part of the story. And the thing is, you know, the author says these things are necessary to the story because of what happens. These two people will do absolutely anything for each other. And that just forms it forms like the foundation of their relationship for the entire series.
Mm.
Wow. It's a thing. It's a thing.
There's war. There's
It looks like there's a bit of a sci-fi sort of.
well, there's a time travel element. That's what. So that's why it's a bit hard to pigeonhole, because there's this time travel element, but it's not a sci-fi type of thing at all. Yeah.
That's just one component of.
I'll post the book cover that Diana did in the chat for this link, and so you can see what she says about what's in it.
Okay, cool.
Beautiful. I better go and do some work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. That was great.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
always
jumping
good
in.
to catch up.
Bye, Judy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Robin. Bye, Frank.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Are you still there, Shiho?